In today's video we'll unpack this e-bike rack. I would call this a heavy piece of equipment. By the way, this package weight is that much. E-bike Hitch bike rack installation instructions, man. That thing, attaching the hitch part to it, I think that's what it is. Then we can use it. I'll do this quickly. I assume something like this, installation instructions, should be pretty straightforward for everyone reading, so I don't have to do that really. I want to test this thing with bikes. So just do this part. I'll just do part 1. Align holes, install bolts, washer, and nuts, tighten them. There's no specification on how many torque. Install clevis pin and R clip on the tank. So this is a 1B. I think we did it mainly. I'm saying mainly because it's not all the way done yet. Looks like this piece is the piece which goes into the hitch, receiver hitch, or a receiver part on the car, and it comes on the side with one pinhole. This rack comes also with one of those pins, which at the end you can stick through, and then I have a cotter pin here on the side. And oh, I can see already there's something moving. All right. I was talking about this one. That's the part which goes into the hitch. We'll install it later. But when you go towards here, that's where we need to install also some kind of pin or whatever that is. Oh, actually, wow, reading the instruction correct, guys. This part, that's wrong. This one. Because you want to keep the movement. Because you want to keep the movement of this arm so you can fold it up and down. Guess where this one goes? Apparently it goes in there. Interesting enough. Oh God, nice, okay. With a wiggle, you get a jiggle do. You get it through, okay. Okay. This one goes in here. Interesting, okay, good to know. And this heavy stuff, that's what goes into here. And tightens down. Connects to your car. So this part, and that's what they give you. Okay, interesting. Not sure if I would like this part. As always, I mean, it's a pretty heavy-duty bolt, nut. It's good. You will never be able to loosen it without any tools, which is okay, if you ask me. You could go with something like an anti-rattle system here maybe as well. Not sure if this is strong enough for this part though. But you could get a beefier one for sure, and put it in here and have an anti-rattle, but we'll see if it rattles at all. That's something we have to determine at all, so maybe not. And by the way, they also gave us the tools. Let's see what else we have very quick. Because looking at this, so I did already look at it, and those things They are adjustable. There's ratchets, pull them in and out, right? That goes through your tire, we'll get there later. And you can tighten it down here, just to adjust it to your tire. And then it doesn't move, that's important. You have 4 of them, 2 on this side, 2, 1 for front, 1 for rear kind of thing. And then we have also the same over here. One thing which is missing for the tire setup. When you put our bikes on, you want to lift them up. Oh, let's see if I can get it up. And there's a security pin down there, which is basically this one, which pins in and out and secures this one. Nice. All right. I'm curious what kind of bikes you're putting on, because I want to test it. It goes in this direction, the other one in this direction. Nice. All right. And it looks like, yes, they are adjustable in height as well. So we'll see what kind of bikes we put on. Oh, and by the way, welcome back to Toby's Wheel Skills with me, Toby, looking at a bike rack today. Oh, by the way, not only a bike rack, we are looking at an e-bike rack, this heavy duty one. In this video, we will test a specific e-bike carrier which mounts to the hitch of your car. And funny story about this part, that's why I had to make a video about replacing the rear backup camera of my Jeep Wrangler up there. Maybe stupidity, call it whatever you want to call it. I'll show you why it happened. Bummer enough, but we'll test this one. I'll get an e-bike which is more heavy. We'll mount my mountain bike to it as well to see how it performs. We'll test it, and then I'll show you what's the advantages of this product. But I think it's an amazing big product for multiple bikes. What I mean with big, because it's heavy. It's a heavy duty bike carrier. Let's mount it to the car and let's pick up the bikes. First thing we want to do, and I want to use this one so I can lock it down a little bit. You know, a little bit peace of mind driving somewhere, but also have it safe and secure. And it does come with this magnet, which is super handy when sliding it in. Just slide it in, you align it where you need to have it, then you can just stick it through. Now you wonder how I destroyed my rear camera. I'm not showcasing it 100%, but it has to do with this. And with this. Not doing it now. I want to say thank you for giving me the bike, the Super73, just for this e-bike rack video I'm doing here. Thanks to Peddler's Fork, as you can see here. It's a restaurant out in Calabasas. They not only are a restaurant, they also have a bike shop with mechanics working there. As you can see, there are some shop hours, as well as selling bikes in case you're looking for a new bike while you're out there and having lunch, or maybe something else, or maybe you just need a bike bottle, or you just like to shop, or you want to get one of those Super 73. I'm not gonna lie, those bikes, those e-bikes are pretty amazing. I of course took it afterwards for a spin as well, not only shooting the video, showing what this bike rack is capable of. I also want to give it a try, and the Super 73 is an awesome bike, which is, you know, it gives you a little moped feeling when you're on it out and you just want to cruise around. It's quite a lot of fun. Thanks again for giving me this bike for the time being and for time of shooting this video. Thanks so much. Let's continue in the video. All right, here we have the bike on it. Mounting one of those Super 73 is definitely a different game. You can see it especially here with those fat tires. That's how they stand. There's still a gap. They stand on top of the same back here. The nice part about it is those are adjustable, so you can move them back and forth when you loosen them with this little bolt. When you loosen them with this little bolt down here. The more tricky part was for sure, and that's why you see me using also a strap here. Where should I mount those middle pieces? So you can see my security strap. The one which holds in place is up here, because this frame of this bike just doesn't have a middle piece, so I cannot really clamp it down. But I was able to clamp it up here on the frame, which holds pretty well. So you can see it's kind of split back here, but it holds in place pretty well so far. So really, there's not a lot of movement. You might want to have a second bike here, which I'm going to showcase now. But just adding a second bike is not the solution. You know, there are different ones. You can have a second of those bikes, the Super 73. You can have a different fat tire bike. I'm using a mountain bike, which it's not electric, but it's still heavy because it's aluminum frame, and it will hopefully fit on there as well. Let's see. Ideally, you want to mount it like this because of the wide handlebar here. So it would be something like this, I would assume. I think that could fit pretty well. What I would do, so if I always use it like that, I would move this one to the front. Let's do that. So you can adjust it yourself and get in the position you need for your bikes. In the other direction. This bar, this one, and on the other side. Totally 2 bolts and nuts. Should be able to slide it around like this. And that's what you need to adjust for your bike, for your specific use case. In my case, I want to have everything sliding because I want to adjust it. That means bring it up. What would be the ideal position? Because it should be behind the car as well. You can go a little bit more like this. I think that's good. That means tying it down here. This side. Do the same at front, so I know where it needs to go. Tightening it down. The mountain bike is pretty long, but you can see this will be fit pretty good. And let me tighten it down. Always use those rubbers in between so you're not damaging your rim. It's this little middle piece, which I have not taken care of. So you always have to adjust your pedals, obviously. So where can we clamp it down? So with those adjusters, depending on, you can swing them around. It's probably something you have to do one time, just that you know where to do that. This lock nut was getting loose, which was not cool. I think this is not a good design because I can't tighten it down inside. And it should be rather tight. You can see, because it shouldn't go anywhere at one point. Now we have to tighten those ones down to make sure that they also not going anywhere. Otherwise, this might slide off. One side, here in a second. Look at this. Let's take it for a test ride. So the Super 73 is mounted on the bike rack, and I'm driving now out of the driveway and take it for a little spin. As you can see, or maybe not, but the GoPro is mounted on the handlebar of the bike, so that's why you see less movement on the bike, but you see the car moving. So there's always a little wiggle and, you know, some movement happening on this bike, but just watch it. I'll drive up with a couple stops and everything else, just to see if it's stable and how it feels like and everything else. And then you will take it for a quick test ride. And here we actually did arrive at a spot where I wanted to take the bike down and show you the process of what I needed to do to get it down, and also show you a really cool feature about this bike rack, which not every bike rack has. Let's call it a heavy duty bike rack, because it is actually heavy. And here you can see I'm pulling out some kind of ramp, which is built in both of those trays for the bikes. And when you have a really heavy e-bike, you will be super happy to have some kind of help to lift or get the bike down. So just watch this, how it works. It's not complicated, it's more simple, but this is my process. When you're just riding with this one alone, you can use the clamp up and down here at the low, and you cannot tighten because it's interfering here with the chain. But this one you can tighten up, but you have to push it really hard up on both sides, otherwise it's not going in, because you want to find a sweet spot of the rubber. Since this is very, you know, delicate bike, I definitely rather strap it down here just to make sure there's nothing moving. The more you drive, the more confidence you will have, I guess, also in here. Guys, the only thing now to take it off, fairly simple. First off, this pin, we have to get it out. This stuff gets freaking hot in the sun, believe it or not. That's all. I can use this little pin here, which it holds in place. That's why it's still shaking a little bit when you drive. So far, did not have a problem. When you lay it flat, only thing you have to pay attention that you lay it in here in the mount. Put a pin back in. Now it's up to you how you want to place that stuff here. And strap it down with the rubber. Make sure those ones are also tight, secured like this. But since I had a bad experience with this one, and I pushed it against, well, it's usually not moving, pushed it against my backup camera. I'm not doing this with the Jeep anymore because I feel like it's just the wrong height for this one. It always hits it. It's a bummer. But also, and that's what I want to show you here, as soon as you lift it up one time, you can see it's super tight in this area. Super, not because it looks tight, it's because there's so much color, paint coming off on both sides. So, which is really insane. So you can tell there's a lot of friction, so it might be just too tight up here, but I don't want to loosen it. And all it holds in is a pin at the end, the same pin which you used before. Then you put it in, put a pin in, and then it stays up. So you can fold it away. It's gone. Alrighty, it's time for my summary and what I think about it. So what I think about it is the Super 73 is awesome. Alright, but this video is mainly about the e-bike rack, and my thoughts about this e-bike rack are the following. It is heavy duty, it has some awesome features like the ramp, it feels very, very sturdy, which is awesome. The trays feel like they're really wide. Even though this fat tire I had here on the Super 73 was not as capable of sliding in those trays, which I was surprised. But other than that, it was still holding well, even though the frame was definitely not made to mount on those e-bike racks. But the frame of the Super 73 is definitely not the easiest frame which you can imagine to put on those kind of e-bike racks. Even though it was performing pretty well, I felt very sturdy and I felt very secure all the time and safe driving. With other bikes which have a more normal frame, this is way easier. You don't have to think about it twice. This will work organically, it feels like. I mean, organic is the wrong word. Anyways, but you saw it with Mountain Bike, which has also a different frame, but it worked well. It is sturdy, it is really solid. It was right behind the car. I was able to adjust a lot, which is amazing. It has a lot of bolts and nuts, which you can loosen and adjust. Keep that in mind. So you might have to tighten things down because they might come loose or not. When you look to the other brands, they usually have maybe something to pull, a handle or something like that, so it makes it more user-friendly probably. If you don't worry about it at all and you might want to save a little money, I'm not sure how much the other branded bike racks are actually for e-bikes. But keep that in mind. Other than that, it was a nice experiment. I like it and I will use it for my other normal bikes as well, as maybe I'll get an e-bike in the future, who knows. When you tilt the rack up, there was this friction, which I was not super happy about it, because those are potential rust areas in the future when it rains, depending on your environment where you live. It comes in handy when tilting it away. For Jeep Wrangler JL, my case 2020, be aware of, you will be able, when you tilt it up, you will destroy your backup camera. Unless you have some relocation kit for the backup camera. That was a huge bummer. What I didn't mention, I put only a picture in, you can also tilt it down so you can easily or more easily open your trunk and whatnot. It can hold up to 180 pounds of bikes on top of it. Has a own weight about 77 pounds. Keep that in mind, it's a heavy thing. You know, putting it on the car and taking it off the car, it is heavy. I experienced it a couple times myself, let me tell you. It's cool to test such a bike rack, that's for sure. It has some kind of flaws which would be awesome if they could be improved. It's a simple design, but it works. Other than that, I think it was cool to try it out with the e-bike as well as with a normal mountain bike. I mean, if it's a mountain bike with an e-motor, of course it's more heavy. It has the same dimensions, almost the same dimension like mine. Mine is a large, I believe, so it's. If you have any questions about this bike rack, please leave it in the comment section below. Like the video if you want to see stuff like that as well in the future. Thanks again to Peddler's Fork. If you're in the area of Peddler's Fork in Calabasas, just feel free to say hi at the restaurant. They're really nice. They have good food. They have bike shop, repair shop. They have even locks where you can lock your bike to when you just want to enjoy a nice little coffee. This is amazing. This is, by the way, also an awesome spot where people where bike groups stop and where they meet sometimes and start a ride from there. Thanks for watching. Hope you subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Cheers!